Well, hello and welcome back to Talking Wanderers. It's been a couple of weeks away and today we're back. I'm back with Mark Isles, our Wanderers correspondent, to talk about, among other things, that goal at Everton on Wednesday night. Yes, I mean Gary Cahill's winner. And also looking ahead to this weekend's game at Macclesfield in the FA Cup. Well, Mark, last night, that's Wednesday night at Goodison Park. I suppose you've not really seen a game like that going behind, and obviously it's a tough place, isn't it, Everton, and to a goal that I've never seen before. I don't know about you. What a strange night.
It was ridiculous, really, in many ways. I mean, the conditions were always going to make it so. But first time this season, Bolton have come back from a goal down and got 3 points. But I mean, Tim Howard's goal. The more you see it, the more ridiculous it seems. I mean, yeah. the wind, the turf, everything just. I don't really know quite how to explain it. I don't think I'll see another one like that.
I heard the commentary at the time, and obviously everybody's going to blame Adam Bogdan because it's a goalkeeper you're going to look. I watched it several times on Match of the Day, and I must admit, I don't think many keepers would have saved that. Due to the freakish nature of that bounce, his positioning wasn't. He was 9 yards out when it bounced. He was back on the 6-yard box, diving backwards. It wasn't like he was on the edge of his area, was it? It was to me. What do you think of it?
Well, I mean, he actually started off in that position pretty much all the time. As you say, about 9 yards outside a goal, and he'd done fairly well mopping up off his line during the rest of the game. I think it was just the trajectory of the way it came in. Yeah. My big beef really on the night, and it still is to a certain extent. I think I was a little bit harsh at the time on Bogdan, and we didn't have the benefit of replays, etc. So it was a case of making a snap judgment. But at the time, I thought that the two centre halves watched the ball bounce and didn't put the head on it, and I would have liked to have seen somebody go up there, or Bogdan communicate with his centre halves and say, "Listen, boys, get your head on that," because you know that anything could happen. It was one of those nights where anything could have happened.
It's the first rule in centre halves, isn't it? You don't let the ball bounce.
Exactly.
And it was in the air for long enough, wasn't it?
It could have been just as easily held up and allowed Strachan-Lurcy to go through and score himself. That Strachan-Lurcy, Dennis Strachan-Lurcy. I'll spell it for you if you want. It's no problem.
Spell it as it sounds.
It's the traditional spelling.
Yeah. But then, all right, that was a freak goal. Everyone's going to watch that one on YouTube. But it shouldn't really be allowed to overshadow, from a Bolton point of view, those two goals that we scored.
Is that very important? It isn't, of course. I mean, when it happened, the first thing I thought was, again, the world's falling in on Adam Bogdan. Cause remember the last time he played in the Premier League, it was that Chelsea game, and I thought, the poor lad, but to give him credit, he actually looked more confident after the goal had gone in, and it spread throughout the team, and it was very, very solid. They 4 minutes later, great bit of football to play and go in, and he produced a fantastic finish, and then all of a sudden we thought, well, game on, and up until that point, I thought the Everton crowd had got on Everton's backs quite a lot. They weren't happy with what they're seeing. They weren't very cohesive at all. And Bolton suddenly looked like the better team and the team in the ascendancy. And it was good to see him go on. And what a finish for Cahill and the winner.
Well, absolutely. But both finishes were superb. And then Go as well. He had he caused a few problems earlier on in the first half as well, didn't he? He had a good chance, decent shot away. Did he? Is he looking dangerous?
Well, I thought he had a good game against Wolves. I mean, he faded a little bit towards the end, but I thought yesterday he got in some good positions in the first half, but you kind of doubted whether or not he really believed he was going to score. And, sometimes he's got the skill, he's got the trick, and he gets himself there, and you think, does he really believe it? But that finish, that's wiped away a lot of the doubts. And I just hope he can take that from now, because he has got those little talents that you think he could definitely substantiate the money we paid for him. It's just now about confidence.
And Gary Cahill from the ball in, he pulled away, he pointed to where he wanted it, he set himself, he knew exactly what to do. Are Chelsea or Spurs going to buy a top centre forward?
Well, that's it. I mean, we've always known he's got that in his locker. I mean, he scored some fantastic that one against City the other year. I still think that's one of my favourite goals I think I've seen reporting on Bolton. But I mean, look, Gary Cahill, you've got to tip your hat to him for the way he finished that goal, but tip your hat to the way he played that game, because under that sort of pressure, knowing that he's being asked to get out there with all this Chelsea stuff going on in the background, and Harry Redknapp sat a couple of yards from me in the press box as well, and he said on the day, he's still in there for Gary. There's a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and to go marching forward, your centre half picking up a ball at 1-1. and doing that, it shows a lot of character. And he, if anything that happens this week, if he ends up at Stamford Bridge, he deserves it because he's been a credit.
He's never looking back at Bolton now. The league table looks a lot more healthy because I don't think anybody fancied Bolton at Everton. I don't think they did. And now third bottom, 1 point off the two teams above them. There's a big gap above those, a 5 point gap above those, but it looks a lot healthier, doesn't it, now going into the FA Cup?
It does. I mean, they could do with the results in the FA Cup and a good performance in the FA Cup to take them into this little run of games they've got against the big teams. I agree with you. Nobody gave them a chance at Everton. They needed to get something, and it was absolutely vital. They just clawed that little bit of ground back on QPR, etc. Because United are going to have their pride hurt as well after the Newcastle results, after the Blackburn results. So it's going to be very interesting going to Old Trafford in a couple of weeks' time. After that, they've got Liverpool and Arsenal. So, we're very much the underdogs in the next few Premier League games. But with that sort of guts and courage, you don't put it past Bolton to nick something.
No, exactly. And looking at Saturday's game, a bit of fun, Macclesfield, a bit of release of pressure. I know a few people are going down there. They like the price. Yeah. And the FA Cup's a bit of a dirty word, though, isn't it? After what happened last season, how do you think Bolton will approach it?
Look, I mean, it's the same as the Lincoln game last season. You're on a hiding to nothing. You use it as an excuse to give a few players a chance to go. I mean, the likes of Kevin Davis and Tunchai and Darren Pratley and such like should be able to get a run out and maybe answer a couple of questions that have been asked of them recently. Yeah.
Join us again next week when we'll be talking about the outcome of the FA Cup tie at Macclesfield and looking ahead to the next difficult fixtures in the league for Bolton.